Holiday travel is so special for so many families. I think there is a kind of magic that gives your family a way to pause, a way to reconnect.
Gifts are great, but I can tell you my daughter remembers the experiences more than anything else.
Have you been dreaming of travel but not sure where to go or how to begin planning? Well, you found the right podcast.
Welcome to Theme Parks and Passports, the travel podcast for every family ready to explore the world, one destination at a time. I'm Melissa Sanchez, travel addict, wife, and mom of two big kids. Along with planning all my family adventures, I've been helping others realize their travel dreams through my company, Spellbound Vacations, since 2010.
And I'm Heidi Mackey, a travel enthusiast with a passion for geek and pulp culture. I'm also a wife and a mom of a spicy tween. Since 2017, I've been creating vacation memories for families through my business, House of Mackey Travel. Join us as we share stories, tips, and talk to those in the know to inspire your family's next great adventure.
Because creating family travel memories can happen in any stage of life.
Merry Christmas in July, everyone. I'm Heidi Mackey from House of Mackey Travel.
And I'm Melissa Sanchez from Spellbound Vacations.
Welcome to our special holiday planning edition of Theme Parks and Passports, your guide to fun, stress-free, memory-making family travel.
Today, we're diving into why now is the perfect time to plan your holiday travel for 2025, even if the only sleigh bells you're hearing in July happen to be on your summer playlist.
We'll cover everything from theme parks and holiday cruises to long weekend getaways, with tips for every family travel style. So think frosty thoughts and let's get to it.
Holiday travel is so special for so many families. I think there is a kind of magic that gives your family a way to pause, a way to reconnect, to do something special together without that pressure of the gifts and the maybe I don't know about you, but the cleaning the house for when guests come or the travel in the sense of like going to visit family, not travel in the sense of going on vacation. So there's that stress of maybe a long drive, that sort of thing, instead of the relaxation of thinking we're going on vacation.
Right. That continuous schedule that seems packed to the brim and nothing's to happen at your
Mhm.
house or else everything's happening at your house, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, and I know another big pressure is gifts, right? So trying to get the gifts together for everyone you're seeing and everything you're doing. But, gifts are great, but I can tell you my daughter remembers that the experiences happened more than anything else. One example is that my birthday is in December. So what we do is we usually try to go on a trip around them. For one year, we went to Walt Disney World in December, and my daughter got to meet all the different holiday storytellers, including Santa in the countries around Epcot. And she was only 18 months old. But even though she was so young, she totally loved it. And we've been able to include some of those different traditions we learned about from all of those countries in our holiday celebrations.
I love that. And for me and my family and my kids, it's more kind of about that time together because my son doesn't live at home anymore. My daughter's away at college most of the year. And so it's hard for us to get together on, a weekly basis or the weekend and to set some sort of travel or vacation around the holidays kind of gives us that reset family time where we're having a great time, we're reconnecting. Maybe you are starting new traditions like you did when your daughter was young with the storytellers and bringing those into your family. But it's a great time for us to bring everyone together when we're not together on a regular basis because they are big.
Yeah. And I think what happens too is when you're finally together, there's that atmosphere of gratitude. But it feels like like the world does slow down at least when you're together. And it's the perfect time to
Hmm.
make those core memories.
Yes. And on sort of the business side of things, I don't know about you, but I'm always telling my clients, you need to book early
Absolutely.
or honestly be prepared to pay the price, the literal price of what your trip is going to be if you wait until the last minute to book holiday travel. And July happens to be prime time for booking your travel in November or December, mainly because a lot of things are going to start booking up. The popular resorts, the holiday parties at the theme parks once those tickets go on sale, nonstop flights or the flights that have the early morning departures and the afternoon
Right.
returns. By midsummer, those things are going to start selling out. And those that are not sold out, you're going to see those prices start going up.
Oh, absolutely. Like the last minute deals, the cheap deals, they don't really exist for that time of year. Those happen when they have spaces they need to sell, and that's not a problem over the
Right.
holidays. Cruises, for example, they're in such high demand over the holidays that, just like you were saying, they tend to sell out in September, especially if you need to have connecting rooms or suites. That you need to plan definitely now, if not a year from now. Like you need to be planning next winter.
Right, and even if you're just looking for we just wanna get away from a long weekend, maybe you wanna go to a cabin and, we're in the Northeast, so maybe you wanna go to the Poconos or you wanna go up to New England or something like that. I can guarantee you if you're not booking those things by July, August, you're probably not booking those things. And a side note with that, one of the things about booking early too is it's going to give you time to gradually pay off this vacation, to make those small payments, because a lot of them you're booking now, but maybe final payments not due until 45 days or 35 days for that resort or the theme park travel. Cruising's a different story. Their timeline is slightly different when it comes to final payments, but if you're doing resort, you're doing theme park, you definitely have time to pay those off.
Yeah, absolutely. The earlier the better for any of these, right?
Yeah, it definitely is. The earlier the better. I mean, I know I have clients right now booked for next December 2026 doing Walt Disney World, right, not right over Christmas, but right before the holidays. They are already booked for that.
Oh, wow, that's great. But at the same time, it's not too late for this year, right?
No, it is definitely not too late for this year. Just last week, I was booking somebody for the beginning of December of this year. I was still seeing plenty of availability. I was looking at a New Year's cruise out of San Juan for another client. Again, there was definitely availability. While she felt the price was maybe slightly high, I personally felt that it wasn't so bad for an over the holiday cruise. So there
Right.
are options still out there for this year, no question about it.
So you started talking a little bit about the theme parks. Do you want to go into a couple tips about that?
Sure. So I would say with theme park travel over the holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it's Christmas, whether it's New Year's, and whether you're doing Universal, whether you're doing a Disney park, it really is planning, 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 planning.
Absolutely.
Expect the crowds, expect to potentially only be doing one park per day versus the park hopping. And you want to make sure, again, I'm just going to go back to that word planning.
Right.
You've got to make sure you have a plan in place.
Yeah, the holidays isn't necessarily any type of peak time isn't necessarily the time to wing it. You need to make sure that you're planning and planning
Mhm.
for your family. You mentioned like the one park per day, that may be necessity out of the sheer numbers there, but if you were talking about families with younger kids, you want to make sure that you're keeping your days light just because of the family structure, not only the park structure, right? So you want to make sure that you're
Yeah.
reserving dining early and you're working in nap breaks or pool time for slightly older kids. They're gonna need a break from the runaround. As we're older and we're parents, we multitask way better than they do. So we need to make sure that we're planning for them.
And I don't know about you, but with the bigger kids, with the tweens, the teens, even my kids in their early 20s, there always needs to be at least one day where they have the ability to sleep
Yeah.
in, where I don't have them up at 6 AM to rope drop, Magic
Mhm.
Kingdom or whatever it might be, because while they're gonna make it to 11, 12 o'clock at night, because you're gonna find theme park hours are definitely longer during the holiday time because of the crowds and, the special events and whatnot that they have going on. It's really important to remember that while you might want to be up at 6 a.m. because you left the theme parks at 9 o'clock, your kids may have been there till midnight and they want to take some time off in the morning. So I think it's really important to talk to your kids about what are their expectations of this trip. What do they want to do? Do they want to take a full day off and sleep in and hang by the pool and do whatever they want? Is there a specific restaurant they want to dine at? We went to Walt Disney World in January last year, and while admittedly we were right after New
Mhm.
Year's, it was marathon weekend, so it may as well have
Right.
been a holiday.
Yeah.
And our son said he wanted to eat at Space 220. We had never eaten there before. That was his only request. I managed to get a reservation, which I was shocked that I did,
Right.
but I managed to get a reservation and we had this really great family dinner, and he was able to do something that he specifically wanted to do. So I know I say this, I've said this about multi-gen travel, I've said this about some of the other travel, but I think it's really important to talk to the entire family and have everybody have some say. And when you're traveling to a theme park where again there are special events going on, maybe there's the Grinch meet and greet at Universal that you really wanna do. You wanna make sure you don't miss the parades. You wanna do Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Make sure everyone's getting a little bit of say, especially if you are kind of replacing this trip with some of the gifts they might have been getting
Right.
at home.
Exactly. You can do all the things, but make sure that everybody wants to do all the things. And then, your list
Mhm.
doesn't have to be just a map of the park where you check everything off. It really depends on what it is that you all want to do.
Right. Yes, true,
And that time of
true.
year is also really good to be able to work strategy into that too. Again, part of your planning. You do a very merry Christmas party, you get earlier admission into the park. Maybe that's not a day that you use one of the days that you've purchased for the park because then you're kind of almost double dipping. And that gives you an opportunity to
Mhm.
spend the morning relaxing, knowing that starting in the afternoon you'll have access to the park and you'll be there really late. So, there's ways to be able to kind of finagle the schedule to get more out of it, but you need to also make sure that that's what everybody wants to do, which is what I think you were saying, right?
Right, and then keep in mind that things like the Very Merry Christmas Party, Universal's Grinchmas, those meals or special events, they're gonna sell
Yeah,
out. The closer you actually get to the actual holiday itself, the more likely you are to find an event that is sold out. However, I will mention with Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom, what the Very Merry Christmas Party, mind you, at the time of this recording, we do not have the exact dates
right.
of the party yet. But by the time this airs, we probably will. Hey, it's Melissa. Just hopping in with a very Merry Christmas update for you. Tickets to Walt Disney World's incredible holiday event, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, go on sale tomorrow, July 16th, for guests staying at Walt Disney World Resort, and then July 22nd for all other guests. The party will take place on select nights November 7th through December 21st of 2025. This amazing event includes special character meet and greets, the Once Upon a Christmas Time parade, an amazing holiday fireworks display, their specialty treats, and so many more surprises. As always, certain dates tend to sell out quickly. So if this is on your wish list, make sure you let your travel agent know so that they can make sure those get purchased for you right away. Back to the episode. Following that, if you are visiting, let's say, again, hypothetically, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25, you're going to find those party events without the party. So if you're traveling over the actual holiday of Christmas, you're gonna have the parade.
Right.
You're gonna have some of those Christmas party shows without the actual party. So that's maybe a decision making on when you actually are booking that holiday travel.
Yeah, absolutely. And another part of that is that it doesn't happen every single night. Neither one of them
Correct.
every single night. So again, look to see what
Correct.
those dates are to see if it's part of what your travel plans could or want to be.
So moving on from our theme
Mm,
parks, let's circle back a little bit to cruises.
love cruises.
So I do too. And I think cruising is a really, really fantastic way to celebrate the holidays without having to worry about the cooking, the cleaning, figuring out where everybody is sleeping. Or if you normally go to visit family, where are you sleeping? Are you on an air mattress? Are you on a pillow out sofa? Like
Yeah,
what's going on with that? So it's definitely I think can be a really great option.
absolutely. I mean, there's something fun about watching your kids open gifts while they're sailing the Caribbean or see Santa on a ship deck.
Yeah, and my big kids, and I know I always call them that, but they're big kids, they're still always gonna be
Yeah.
kids. They love cruising. They'll have their own cabin, they kind of can do their own thing, but we meet up for dinner, and I always feel on the cruise ship there's something for everyone, there's the shows, we do spa days, I force my kids to do trivia with me, and this I feel like cruising is a perfect opportunity to do a multi-gen or family reunion type trip over the holidays too, whether it's Christmas, whether it's New Year's, whether it's Thanksgiving even. Let's do Thanksgiving on a cruise ship.
Right.
And nobody has to cook. Grandma doesn't have to cook. She can just sit down and somebody can serve her.
You don't have to have the sweet potatoes if you don't want them, but you're still going to have to eat the broccoli, right?
Debatable.
Debatable. It depends on if you really want to fight your kids about that, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
they'll have special menus. I mean, they'll have special menus, special
Mhm.
events. Disney Cruise Line has their very maritime cruises. Royal Caribbean does holiday menus and snow in the promenade. And even some of the smaller lines like Holland America do beautiful winter sailings. Imagine New Year's Eve fireworks over the water with a glass of champagne in your hand. I mean, what could be better?
I think it's
There,
perfect. Perfect. But I will say, as a side note,
yes.
make sure you check your cruise itinerary because not all of the ships are going to be decked out in holiday. Again, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, while they all may do a little something, they may not all be completely decorated, and not all of them have access to fireworks for, like you mentioned, a New Year's Eve.
Mhm.
Disney Cruise Line ships will always have fireworks. They actually have fireworks on every sailing, so you can expect them to do fireworks on New Year's Eve, and we have read recently that Carnival has a few itineraries that also may have fireworks on New Year's Eve. But it's something you need to check your itinerary, check with your travel agent, and we may know what's available on your sailing. Again, at the time of recording, we don't have specifics, but we do know from past experiences, like you said, Royal Caribbean with their special menus
Right.
and Disney with their fireworks on New Year's Eve. We know these things will happen year after year.
Absolutely. Actually, I have a story. My pre-TA life, I actually went on a Carnival cruise, which has changed since then, of course. But we went on in December for my birthday. We went on without my daughter. She was very, very young, and we were going on the cruise as like an adult getaway. And happening in December, I read about all the cool things Carnival does for the holidays. Got on the ship, and my ship was not one of those that had the things on it. But I didn't
Oh,
look.
no.
It's made me like it was the hard lesson to learn that not every itinerary is set up because not every person wants to be surrounded by that. It was definitely a way for me to learn to check my itinerary for specific things before I got on, not assume that something's going to happen because not all of them have that.
That is very, very true. So again, just to reiterate, it's super important to check your itinerary, check with your travel advisor so that you know exactly what you're getting and that you're getting what you
Right.
want. And just to kind of add to that, and I know we've said this multiple times, you need to book now. You need to book now. This is not a getting together on Thanksgiving and deciding the family wants to go on a cruise over Christmas. Could you do it? Probably. Will your options be limited? Absolutely. Will your prices be higher? They sure will. But I'm not saying it can't be done. What I'm saying is if you want the stateroom choice that you want, Heidi mentioned earlier, suites or connecting staterooms, or even staterooms on the same floor as the rest of your, or the same deck as the rest of your family, you really need to be giving yourself some time between when you book and when you're actually traveling. And, on the other side of that, if you're not ready, if 2025 you're like, "You know what? Not in the budget this year. We're going to grandma's. She's going to be really upset if we don't go." There are rates. All of 2026 is out for, I would say, just about every cruise
Yeah, I was
line.
gonna say.
You might find 1 or 2 that doesn't have their entire 2026 itineraries out, but the majority of them
Yeah.
do. 2027, a lot of the cruise lines have rates released into 2027 already too. So, while we may not be able to say this sailing in 2026 has the holiday theming or, that sort of thing, it's a pretty good chance if we're booking around the same dates for 2026 that we can see it for 2025, that you're gonna get the theming and whatnot, but you're also gonna get better pricing, you're gonna get better
Yeah.
availability, and you're gonna have a longer period of time to make those payments.
Yeah, absolutely. That really is the best way. The further out you can do a cruise in particular, the better you can do with managing the funds for that, I think.
Right.
But not every holiday trip needs to be a big cruise or a big trip to a theme park. You could have amazing long weekend excursions. Some of the best holiday magic happens with just quick getaways.
It sure does, and since, we've been talking a lot about those Christmas
Hmm.
themes, there are plenty of towns and cities actually throughout the US that put together this incredible Christmas theming. Leavenworth, Washington, or Frankenmuth, Michigan. I hope I pronounced that right. Frankenmuth? Where again, we're located in the Northeast. So we have Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, or you can go up to Woodstock, Vermont. So there's a lot of special things you can do to get in that holiday spirit, to celebrate the holidays without going to a massive theme park or getting on a cruise ship. You can still do that holiday getaway.
One good example is the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina.
Mhm.
It's picture perfect over the holidays. The mansion and grounds are decorated from head to toe, and they have amazing events, special seasonal menus at their restaurants, and you got to have hot cocoa by the fireplace. It's a total must. It's simple and stunning and just completely stress free, especially with the fact that you can actually stay on the estate, and then just have access to everything that they have there.
Yeah, definitely on my list of places to visit during the holidays. But if you live outside of a city and maybe just want to do kind of a day trip, if you're not able to do one of these bigger holiday getaways, travel doesn't have to always be this massive event. It can just be going into the city for the day. Think New York City at Christmas time. I live right outside of Manhattan. So we go in all the time. We see the tree. You can see the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall. There's the Christmas markets, and a lot of cities have holiday markets. Chicago's another one that has a big holiday market scene. And even some of the smaller destinations like Savannah with their historic squares, there's a lot of different things that you can do, weekend trip, day trip, that you're still gonna get that holiday spirit.
Yeah, when we were young, we lived outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and
Mm,
our family always made sure that we took an evening or an afternoon and we went to the Opryland Hotel, which turns their atrium into this giant holiday extravaganza. I mean, there were ornaments the
mm.
size of cars that are hanging from the ceiling. It was beautiful to be part of. And I think here, now that I'm in the Poconos, we've got on our bucket list, we're going to try to make our way to Jim Thorpe, which is supposed to be
Mhm.
a beautiful, picturesque, pretty much like Hallmark type town to go visit.
Yeah.
And I would love to do a weekend spa getaway with my daughter or my girlfriends at the Hershey Hotel and do like a Christmas chocolate spa treatment. I mean, oh my gosh.
Does it have to be at Christmas? I mean, can't we just go get that chocolate spa treatment any
You
time of
can,
year? Like, do we have to
absolutely.
wait?
That's plan B. If I can't get there during the holidays where there may be peppermint included, then yeah, Why don't we plan for February if we can't get there in December? How does that sound? You go with
Yeah,
me, Melissa?
or even, like,
Okay,
August. I mean, let's be
that's
honest,
true.
any time of year with a chocolate spa sounds good to
Yeah,
me.
very
So we just kind of a little story, New Year's Eve in New York City,
mm,
which can be bucket list for a lot of people, but is also something that if you don't live in the area and you need to book a hotel, you absolutely need to book that in advance. No question
yes,
about it. Same with Thanksgiving Day parade
absolutely.
in New York City. You don't live in the New York City area where you can come in and out on that specific day. You need to book that far in advance. And there are packages out there and there are hotels out there that offer the viewings for the Thanksgiving Day parade, for New Year's Eve. I've done New Year's Eve in Times Square twice. I was much younger, much younger. I won't
Why?
tell you how much younger, much younger. One year was so cold that I swear I could not feel my hips like, I
Oh,
don't think I
wow.
could walk by the end of it. And you're there all day.
Yeah,
You can't use any of the bathrooms anywhere unless you're, like, buying food, and if you move, you lose your
yeah.
spot, so you don't necessarily wanna move. So there's a lot of maneuvering. We talk about planning for a theme park vacation or a cruise over the holidays. Let me tell you, trying to do New Year's Eve in Times Square in New York City, once, okay. Why I did it a second time is beyond me. I have no idea. So but there's definitely other things if that's something you wanna do or if you wanna see the Thanksgiving Day parade, those are planning in advance events
Yeah,
too that may
absolutely.
not seem like it may be like, "Oh, we'll just grab a hotel and we'll come in for the weekend." No, you won't.
No,
You need to think about
the
that.
nearest hotel will be somewhere in Massachusetts. Like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah. You'll be asking to rent a room in my house in
Yes,
Jersey, you know?
exactly. We did it one year, but I was lucky enough to have again, pre-TA life. I was working with somebody who was in 1501 Times Square, and
Mm,
her office faced the square. And so she let us go in for the night, and we grabbed as many people as we knew. We had, I think it ended up being two, four, six, eight of us. And it was beautiful, and I could never top it, so I'm never gonna try again. Like,
yeah,
it
I wouldn't, and
nope.
I've seen the Thanksgiving Day parade
Mm,
once. Again, so long ago in my previous life, I worked for a company that was right along Central Park West,
wow,
and so I happened to be working overnight, and I got out of work at 7 in the morning. I went right outside, crossed the street, found a spot, watched the parade. It
perfect.
was fantastic, but we have never done it again, and we've actually never taken our kids, and we've talked about it year after year. And my husband's office, speaking of offices, where my husband's located on 6th Avenue, we could actually watch the parade from his
Oh, yeah.
office. We have just for whatever
Mhm.
reason, we've just never done it. Maybe someday soon.
Because we're
We'll
older
see.
and we understand the logistics of it. When we were younger and
Yeah.
a little bit more foolish, we didn't realize
Yeah,
how difficult we were making life for ourselves, let's put it that way.
exactly. True.
Well, and the
True.
weather can always be crazy. That's another consideration for this time of year,
Mhm.
is being really patient with the weather, because no matter what, it could be cold in Florida, it could be 90 degrees in Florida. You could have
Yeah.
snowstorms in New York. It could be 70 and balmy and rainy in New York. It really depends on what Mother Nature wants to throw our way during that time. So you got to be almost way more flexible than you would during like a traditional summer holiday.
You do, and one thing and we again, this is something we talk about a lot, travel insurance. You
Absolutely.
need that travel insurance because I'm gonna tell you right now that if you have snow in Buffalo, New York, and you're supposed to get to a cruise that leaves from Miami, Florida, your flight gets canceled, that cruise does not care.
No.
If you don't have travel insurance, you've missed your cruise and you've lost all your money.
Mhm.
So, it's something I we always say this, travel insurance is not all about cancellation. It's about covering your butt in cases of canceled
Mhm.
flights or lost luggage or things like that, and traveling in the winter over the holiday time is a perfect example of why you should always purchase travel insurance.
Oh, absolutely. I think that it's, if anything, there's more fear. What if you lose the bag that had all the Christmas gifts in it? What if once you get onto the cruise, there is a change in itinerary, which can happen if there's weather, and you don't have the same plans that you had before. They're going to work with you as best they can. But if you book something outside of the cruise,
Right.
your cruise excursion is not going to care that you didn't show up there, that the ship changed on you. So that kind of insurance helps you for things that are done outside of what one piece of your itinerary affects.
So true. So true.
So we got a little bit on of a tangent off of there, but I think these are amazing tips, especially for the holidays. But let's do one last thing before we get into our would you rather. Do you want to go through kind of a quick checklist of like holiday travel isn't one size fits all? So let's talk about strategy by family type.
Yeah, let's talk about that really quickly.
Okay.
So I'd say families with little kids, my recommendation is to minimize
Totally.
transitions. One hotel, one flight in and out. Try to avoid connections if you can. Sometimes you can't, depending on where you're flying from, but if you can, avoid a connection. Try to bring some of the comforts from home. If you're traveling with little kids and it's Hanukkah or Christmas or whatnot, try to either maybe pack a really small Christmas tree, pack your menorah, or see if you can order it or have the hotel or the cruise line. Maybe they have something that they can put in your room for you. But I think keeping those little comforts is a good thing to do for when you're traveling with the younger kids who still believe in everything, and you wanna make sure that their holidays while you're traveling still have that special feel to them.
Absolutely. It helps them with the transitions or the stuff that you can't control. It helps them handle that a little bit better, wouldn't you say?
Mhm. Yeah, yes, I agree with that, and then once the kids get bigger, they're tweens and teens, we talked about this earlier, let them have some input, and same with the big kids. Let them have some input on what you're doing, build in that downtime, let them have their me time. I don't know about you, but when my kids were teenagers, they would come home from big events and literally like lock themselves in their room because they needed to just sort of decompress. And we have to keep that in mind. Just because you're traveling over the holidays for what is a vacation doesn't mean that the kids don't need a
Oh,
break.
absolutely. Mine started doing that recently. It threw me for a loop at first, and now I'm like, "Oh, right. Yeah, they need to recover just like I need to recover." And then for
Right.
empty nesters and parents that can actually get away on their own over the holidays, thank you family members and friends who help us with that. Make sure you're treating yourself. This is your holiday also. Do a river cruise, go to a cozy inn, or take a solo trip to somewhere festive. It's not always about everybody else. Take some time and be able to focus on yourselves.
Yes, for sure.
So now we're coming to an end. Thanks so much for helping me with those tips and tricks, Melissa. Why don't we get into our would you rather? Sound good?
All right. What have we got this week?
I've decided to ask the hard question. Would you do holiday events and activities before Thanksgiving? Or are you a wait until Black Friday to officially start the season? This actually impacts your travel too, wouldn't you say?
It does, and I'm a wait. I'm a
You're a wait.
wait because I feel like every holiday has their
Mhm.
time, right? I don't want to buy Halloween candy in August,
Mm.
right? I don't want to put up my Christmas tree in October. So we start our holidays the weekend after Thanksgiving is where my Christmas holiday starts. One of the reasons too is that a lot of times we are away over Thanksgiving. My family lives in Massachusetts. My husband's family lives in New York. So we alternate each year. So I don't want to get started on one holiday before we have celebrated the other holiday. And then we'll continue to celebrate through New Year's. So I'm all for still seeing Christmas decorations on January 1st, 2nd. Like, I'm fine with that. But once you hit mid January, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, like every holiday has a time
Yeah,
frame for me.
I can see that.
How about you?
I'm pretty much the same unless it's like the only availability that I have is before Thanksgiving. We had an opportunity to
Mm.
see a preview of the Christmas Spectacular because when I was younger, we had a friend who was in the production team, and it was the strangest thing. It was like September 29th or something very early. It was very, very early, and it felt very strange to go to. And you know what? I didn't enjoy it as much as if it had been even 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So I think
Mm.
that's helped solidify. I feel the same way as you, though, that after Halloween and before Thanksgiving, I feel like there is, the final holiday season, the end of the year creeps in a bit.
It does, but I think you can fill those weeks with, like, food and wine festivals, to
Yes,
be honest with you, because
absolutely.
that's a period of time that you're gonna find a lot of that going on. So if you're kind of looking for that in between, before Thanksgiving, getaway things to do, food and wine festivals.
Yes, I agree. The other thing that I used to do is try to get my Christmas shopping done by then,
Mm,
Thanksgiving. So it was like I was able to be a little bit in the Christmas mood, but not completely. Like, don't start the songs until after Thanksgiving, but could have things ready to be wrapped on Black Friday.
sure.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think that it needs to have its time, and it's at the end of May we went into Hobby Lobby and they already had fall stuff up.
Yeah, no.
I had to actively avoid it because it's my favorite time of year. It's like, "No, don't look, don't look.
It's not time for that yet.
No, I can't think pumpkins. That would go great in my living room. Stop it." So, it was fun. My daughter dragged me out. Well, that brings us to the end. Thank you again so much for joining us. The holidays are all about connection. Travel takes you out of the daily grind and puts the focus back on being together and being together as a family.
And you don't have to do it alone. That's what Heidi and I, and travel advisors like us, are here for.
We'll help you pick the right destination for your family. We'll handle the booking and even remind you when Mickey's Christmas party tickets go on sale, which by the time this airs, they'll be out. So reach out.
So, if holiday travel is on your wish list for 2025, or you just want to explore your options maybe for 2026, 2027, now is the perfect time to reach out. Don't wait until Heidi's favorite time of year, pumpkin spice season, although admittedly that is my favorite time of year too.
Here's
Yes, it's perfect, but not perfect for booking your holiday travel in
no,
2025.
not at all.
So, we want to wish you a magical, memory filled summer and the best Christmas in July ever.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe on Spotify or your favorite podcast player. And while you're there, feel free to leave us a rating and review.
Check out the show notes for links to Spellbound Vacations LLC and House of Mackey Travel. Until next time, keep living your best travel life.